Hello and welcome to the 10th episode of the TheDarkNest Podcast. I'm your host, TDN Horror Stories, and today, as always, I'm joined by my winged co-host, As the Raven Dreams.
Hello.
Today we have a very special guest. He is someone I've gotten to know a lot over the 2.5 years that I've been in this community. He has helped me countless times with self-doubt and issues with the internals of the community. Not only does he make some of the highest quality narrations on the platform, but like myself, has pushed his creativity further with his music. Please give a warm welcome to Viidith22 again.
Hi guys, how's everybody doing?
Hello.
All right, so just to preface this real quick, we already did this, and for 10 minutes we were under the assumption that it was working, and we went through 10 minutes of pretty good intro, and I am very upset. There's no other way now to get how we did it organically. So I'm a little upset about that.
Yeah, it is actually very upsetting. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I don't even know if we should go over what we already had again, because I know it's gonna just be like meh. So I might
the thing we just said. Let's go ahead and re-script it.
Yeah, no, we're just gonna skip over what we had originally for the intro, because it's not gonna work. So Viidith, how you doing, man? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. How
Yeah.
you doing?
I'm upset.
I feel that.
But I'm gonna try to power through this as much as I can. So
I believe.
So we've known each other for about 2.5 years at this point. We've had a pretty like stable history, I would say. There's not really a point where I was like, "Yo, this guy's a fucking dumbass," and then just kept going with it.
That's reassuring. Thank you.
I will say there's not something that I addressed vocally to the community while you were here. But we were just talking about this, but so I do think it is. I didn't get to finish what I was saying, so I think this would be a good way to at least get some of it in there. So 2.5 years ago, I got a random message from Viidith. I had really no idea who he was. I had seen his name floating through the community, and he had sent me a message asking me if I wanted to be in a collab, and I was like, fuck yeah, because he had like 3 times the amount of subs that I had. So I said yes, and at the time I was only making videos that had about 3 to 5 minutes a piece of stories, and he sent me a half hour. So I was like, I love you, so I'm gonna do it for you. And I did it, got it to him within an hour and a half. And I honestly, at that point, my relationship in my head with Viidith was over. Like, I was going to be like, yo, never, ever ask me to do that again. I didn't, though. I was like, that was fun, but it wasn't. It wasn't fun.
Just set it between breaths.
Yeah.
To catch.
Yeah. So.
Oh my god.
And then there was the case where you had sent Horror by Numbers a story basically the same week, and I'm glad that I got what I got, because apparently you sent him a story that was so horrifically written that it was it was in English, but he said it sounded like it was in a different dialect entirely.
Jesus Christ.
And he was like, "Yeah, I don't think I don't know what was up with him that day, but like, I don't think I'm gonna get in another one of his videos if he asks me."
I feel that.
Yeah.
I understand. So whenever I was doing that a little while back, I was like, these look awesome for like the first, 2 paragraphs that I read into it. For some of those, I was like, cool. I'll just, it'll be dope. It'll be a solid story. And then oh my god. I read it after you said something about it the first time. I read this story that I sent for my numbers, and it was just a fucking disaster. It's like somebody vomited on a page.
Yeah, it was really. He showed me what he was reading, and I was like, oh man.
Dude, I felt so bad. I was like, oh shit, I didn't mean to be like come off as like some jackass.
He had like just met you, and he was like, hey, you want to be in a video? And he had like 400 subs at the time. He was probably like, fuck yeah. And then you
God.
sent him
And then
this
that
horrible
asshole
story,
insists of just-
and this is what he thinks just big, just like like average sized narrators do now. Is just fucking horrid stories. He was probably thinking, I'm not gonna do this ever again.
And that is not the precedent for certain narrators. That's not the precedent, especially not one I want to set. I think the reason I sent you a long story too was because hanging out with Swamp and some of the other ones that we had talked together was like 30 minutes was the precedent for a lot of narrators at that time. I was like, oh shit, I got to get that 30-minute mark. I got to do this and that. So I, figure it out, and it helps my view times or whatever. So I can potentially get monetized for the platform and stuff like that. And so I was like, it makes sense. And I'm like, oh shit, he only reads like up to like 20-minute stories, and I just fucking sent this dude
not
a
even
massive
like
script.
I barely read over, like I at the time, I think my longest run for one story was probably like 16 minutes, and I think the one you sent me lasted like 35.
That would have been a fucking disaster.
Yeah, so
Jesus, man.
I told you, I think I told you later after that, I was like, please don't ever make me read something that long again. And you're like, no, don't worry, dude. What is the fucking... So the next one you sent me, it was actually pretty moderate. It was like maybe 15 to 18 minutes, which wasn't even that bad. And I really enjoyed the story, so I was into it the whole time. And I was like, that was great. And you're like, yeah, hope to work with you again. And the fucked up bit was that I didn't make you do the same thing. Because when I had you on that video like a year and a half ago, I made you read what I usually read. I should have made you read like a fucking 45-minute story, like
that
full
it
of fucking
been fair.
Yeah, it would have been fair. But I didn't. I didn't even think about that. And I was like, all right, you know what? Maybe he just fucked up the first time. That's fine. It's totally he's used to it. I'm not. It's fine. So then you're like, hey, I'm going out of town for a week or something like that, and I'm getting a bunch of narrators to basically narrate parts of this story for me. Would you want to? And I'm like, as long as it's not absurdly long. And you're like, no, it's not. It was a 45-minute story.
Fucking Christ.
It was and to its credit, it was a good story, but by the end of it, at that point, I remember messaging you. I'm like, bro, I'm never working with you again. Oh my god.
So full disclosure, especially for anybody listening as well as Dark, because Dark knows at this point, fucking message me back, be like, hey, I will not read this, or you're an asshole, or something. Just let me know how I can fix that situation.
Yeah. But I wanted to be in that video because I wanted to collab with you, and I knew you needed the help. You said you needed my help. It wasn't just like, hey, you want to collab. You said you needed my help because you were going out of town and you needed stuff that you couldn't make. So I was like, of course I'll help you. And be honest, shouldn't have helped you. Oh my god!
Shit, you could have sent me some like 5 minutes and be like, okay, he's in the video. It's fine.
Yeah,
we got it.
Yeah. And I think you asked me afterwards, you're like, there's going to be a final part where I'm going to put a bunch of people in the same one doing, like, different, like, parts of it. Would you want to be in it? And I'm like, no. Nope. You're good. You got what I gave you, and that's all you get.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, and then we got you on the Christmas one, which, honestly, you blew everybody out of the water. Like, Canny was there, Maskina was there, Fear was there, and myself, as well as you. But I feel like you took a whole different emotional approach to the way that you narrated that story. And I think I told you about it way later, like the other week when we were talking about making like a song. I had told you, I'm like, yeah, I think about that narration a lot. like more than I should. Yeah, because he puts so much emotion into it. There's just felt like there's such crazy dynamic between the guy and the entity. Like it was.
It was a fun one, man. I mean, I'm glad I did well on it. I mean,
I really liked it.
It was fun. Like it was. I listened to it recently again, and I'm like. First of all, I wish I had my microphone back, but It was also just it was the idea of, I think what I did was that I had the lines recorded separately. So
Mhm.
I did the guy with the first one, and then had the recorded it again with the other guy, and
Yeah,
then just kind of clumped them together. If I remember how I did.
it sounded
It
really
sounds
good.
smoother than it did.
Yeah, it was really really well done, and I was very very happy with it.
It was a good video, dude. I liked it.
Well, I'm not getting you on the next one. Not kidding.
Okay, that's fine. I
Honestly,
feel
I
it.
don't know how I'm gonna even do a 2020 because I've been would be the third year in a row that I had a Christmas collab with my current favorite narrators. I honestly, it's not the people. I can totally get the people. I already have in mind who I'm gonna get on. It's probably gonna be more than it was the last 2 years. I'm probably gonna have like 5 or 6, maybe even 7 people in it. But YouTube being them if you say yes. But
Of course.
but I don't know where I'm going to get the stories because the way I was constructing it the last 2 years, they weren't true stories. I have been getting just creepypastas and no sleeps, and the Christmas ones are very scarce. Like they're not easy to find, at least good
Yeah.
ones. And
Oh,
I
I
really
understand.
exhausted what I had last time because I got so little stories together that the one I narrated I had to write.
Jesus.
Yeah, that one I wrote it. That
Scarce
ending
as
one
fuck,
I
man.
wrote. I had to write that one.
Oh
So,
my god.
well, maybe I'll go. Maybe I'll do what we're doing this year with Halloween, with the true scary stories. Maybe I'll go that route. I don't know.
I think that would be cool.
You should both sing on it for Christmas. Boom, problem solved.
Fucking hell.
Honestly, Viidith TDN Christmas album. I mean,
Okay, that sounds interesting.
I
I can
mean,
imagine the
I
cover
think
art
they're
now.
pulling. I think they're pulling it out of the fact that I sang on the live stream when I was editing that video on Christmas Eve, and now ever
Was I
since
there
that,
for that?
I don't know. Yes, you were because you said it was beautiful. I think you did say you
Yes.
really liked it. So, and at the funny part about that is that I I don't think I've ever been more nervous to do anything. And if anybody watches that back, which I don't know if you can, I don't know if it got taken down or something because of like copyright, because I put actual Christmas music in there. Um, I the way that I sound there, I'm just letting you know, is not how I normally sound when I'm like properly putting my voice into my singing. That point, I was just like because I was so scared. I was so nervous.
Okay,
I was shaking. I was really shaking, and I felt that I couldn't get to my full octave. When I tried to get to it, my voice like plateaued, and I was like, "Oh no, this isn't working." I was so upset because I really wanted to give you guys like a really full, like proper singing experience because I promised it, and I just my nerves got over it. And if you've never sang with nerves, it cuts off half of your fucking full range. Like I never had
Yeah,
experienced
it
that before.
fucks you
It
up.
literally, it's like you hit a ceiling. There's no fucking, you can't push past it. It physically won't let you. It was so weird. But maybe I'll do that again. I don't know. Maybe. So I have a question for Mr. Viidith, obviously. So you've been doing this for quite a while. Like you've been around for a while. And not a lot of people will probably notice that. Like you've been around almost as long as like the long like the oldest channels in the horror game. Like you started in 2013. Did you really like narrate in 2013?
Um, admittedly enough, I did like 2 videos that were terrible about me talking to a face cam about like some shit, like some cheesy shit, like why love spreads or hate spreads faster than love, and something like that, like a self-help type deal. And I deleted it immediately after. I'm like, this is just terrible, and I hated, I hated like everything about it. I didn't know how to edit shit, so it was just fucking clunky and garbage. And I had 2 song covers that I took down later on, and that's about all I posted for like a year. But 2014 is about where I started doing poetry, and then Unit picked me up, and then I just kind of did narration from there.
Yeah. So, back then, was there really like a community? Like, not even like it is now. Like,
oh, hell no.
No, there wasn't
Hell
really
no.
anything. So it was
No,
just a bunch
it's,
of you guys just fucking around, like just making
about.
videos.
So,
yeah.
from my understanding, nobody really talked to each other aside from basically the top 3 or 4 guys.
Right.
Everybody else just kind of was on their own for it, from what I remember. They called themselves something. I can't remember what the name that they used, but they called themselves something, and that was it. Like, that was the creator, and then there was the audience, and that was the divide between them.
Right.
There was no real community, no people going in and out saying, I love your stuff, or like, I'm a writer, but I'm still a part of this community. Like,
Right.
writers would get commissioned and then would be fucked off after the story or 2 that they wrote.
Right. So
It sounds terrible, but it's...
I mean, I get it. So basically, this whole dynamic that basically has spawned more smaller narrators only really started when this whole like Twitter, Discord community thing started happening.
Yeah, from more or less. And I wouldn't say I would be the only one to understand that or to know that, because I've only had my experiences with it. But yeah, Twitter, surprisingly enough, actually did something useful and helped people come together, kind of. And Discord.
I want to kind of figure out the timeline a little bit, because when I came in, it was a lot different than it is now, but it was still a community. Like, there was still something here. So how long do you think after you started did this like shit really start like forming?
Early 2016, late 2015.
Really? So
I remember right.
So this stuff has been it's been going on for a while. Just it wasn't there immediately when you started.
Yeah, it wasn't there immediately. No. But people ended up just kind of coming together like that. I guess the smaller channels kind of got fed up with always being the small channels.
Right, and they wanted to make something.
Yeah, they wanted to make something bigger.
Because
I assume.
When I came in, it was like there was the big ones, there was the medium ones, and then there was the small ones. And everybody talked to each other, but there was always this like intimidating, like, I don't want to talk to them because they don't know me yet.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
like, but I did. All I had to do was say like, haha, that's funny, and then Swamp Dweller's like, you want to be in a video? Yeah, and it's without the community as it is now, I don't think I'd be where I am, because without the community, as much of the issues that it does actually have, which not a lot of people audience-wise would really see it if you weren't a narrator, but there is a inherently good thing about it, and for a lot of people like myself, wouldn't really be anything without the way it happened. Like, I came in through Horror by Numbers. He brought me in here. I had no idea it existed. He had already been established in it, and he brought me in here and he showed me a bunch of people to work with, like TFB Tales and Mr. Dark Reads, who are no longer making videos, unfortunately, even though they were very... I always say it every time I bring Mr. Dark Reads up. I really feel like he would be like at least at 100K at this point if he kept doing what he was doing, because of how crazy good his voice and quality was.
Yeah.
So those people, we kind of like, there was like this small narrator regime at the start of it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Mr. Dark Reads, you want to do something? Hey, Horror by Numbers, you want to do something? TFB, you want to do something? And then we just kept doing that. And it started becoming like you were saying, like the big narrators had like their own thing. Like, we were a group and that was it. And it felt weird, because it felt like we had our group and then other people had theirs. Like, it's the same thing where like you wouldn't see Markiplier make a video with Vanos Gaming. Like, you probably wouldn't see me make a video with, you know, such and such, who was the same size, yet I had no idea who he was, or he wasn't making the same type of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was
kind of like high school clicks.
Yeah, it was like, it felt like there was clicks going on. It was really, really weird at first. Like,
Sounds weird.
the way this community, like, the way I got into this community is not at all how it is now. Like, honestly, it was a lot more innocent at first. Like, it felt like cool. It felt humbling. I remember I posted a video like called "The Pursuit for Happiness," and in that video, I remember truly when I was recording it, I was the happiest I had ever been. I had created a Discord server. Everybody was booming. They were really nice to each other. My videos were doing well. I had a great like Twitter interactive thing going on, and it felt really, really good. And that's how basically everything was in the community. It just got soiled afterwards, I guess, by a couple of things that happened. But I don't think it also just doesn't work the same anymore. Like, it just doesn't feel like you can like approach it the same way. I don't know.
And I agree with that. It's so one of the big differences I realized from, I guess, whenever I was really fucking tiny and first started, and I had like 2 videos and like 100 subscribers maybe. One thing that I realize now that I'm getting a little bit bigger is something that, for some reason, the smaller channels are like, oh, don't ever do this because it's always a terrible idea, is if you reach out to huge channels and ask them, hey, do you want to collab sometime? Or just say hi, or just let them know that you're there. Because I was fucking tiny. I didn't know what I was doing. And so I'm like, hey, to all these other people. And I tried it. And Unit ended up saying yes. And then I ended up doing a video for him. And then from there, just kind of built on that. And I met nearly everybody else that I know now. But it's the idea that now, if somebody would try to do that to a bigger channel, there are so many cliques and so many social ties and so much drama entwined in a whole bunch of parts of the horror community.
Mm-hmm.
You would be able to, some bigger channels would judge the other channel that's trying to get a collaboration with them and completely shut them out before they even talk to them.
Yep.
And it's just,
you get it. There's like a stain on your character from someone you don't even know.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, it's just,
before you even talk to
terrible.
that person.
That's
Like,
I hate to say it. That's why I haven't talked to anyone that's really larger than me, to be honest with you, because it just feels like it's very judgy. It's really weird.
I usually wait for somebody to come to me, because that's basically how it's been working since I started. I'm not actively looking to collab with people. I mean, for Christmas, I am planning on getting somebody like bigger. Like, I've been trying. Dark Somnium we've been talking for a while. Like, he pops into my live streams every so often, and he's like, hey, let's do something, and then we never do. So I'm trying to get him on something for Christmas. Maybe even in the Christmas collab that I was talking about. So hopefully that'll work out. But besides that, I'm not really actively looking at all. Like, it's never like, of course I would want to. You think I wouldn't want to just like, be like, hey, let's read. You want to do something? Like,
right.
Which he probably would. That's the funny part, is he probably would, because he's a very chill dude. And he's really open like that. But as of just like actively seeking it, I never really do it. I don't see an issue with it, but it's just not how it has come to me. Because it's usually just like, I randomly knew somebody, and that person knew the next person, and then they asked me if I wanted to be in something. I never asked Swamp if I could be in a video. He asked me. Like, that's just how it's been. The only thing I've actively set out to get was the Mortis Media competition, and even then I forgot about it after I sent in my audition. Like,
yeah.
I sent in the minute thing, and he messaged me 3 weeks later like, hey, you're in. And I'm like, for what? Wait, what am I in? Did I sign up to be in the Human Centipede? I don't understand. And he's like, no, you won. You're coming in to do auditions, but basically you won anyway. I changed it up, picked 4 winners, and now you have to compete, but basically you won because you're already getting exposure. And I'm like, okay, cool. But at that point, I was just like, I didn't even know I did it.
Right. Well, So just to kind of go with what Viidith had said and what kind of that, I actually had a smaller channel than me, which I mean I'm only at 1,300 subs. Ask if I wanted to do a story for their channel, and they were surprised I said yes, because I was so much quote unquote larger than them, and it was actually sad to see that. Because they just had this weird image that because I had 1,000 subs and monetized, I'm just gonna like scoff and turn them down or something.
Well, think about it this way: I had popped into your live stream and I said that because my girlfriend, at that time I didn't know who you were. I had saw your name. I didn't really watch any of your stuff yet, and my girlfriend had been watching you, and she told me, "Hey, can you just go to the live stream, check them out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I pop in the live stream and I was like, it's not a voice I've heard before for narration. It's like it's not, it doesn't go this. I think your voice is a little bit different than a lot of other people's. But I was interested in the way you were doing it. At that point, I think you were doing a live recording. So I was listening to it. I'm like, wow, this guy's actually really, really fucking good. And I had told you that, and you're like, coming from you, that means a lot. And I'm like, coming from me, what? I'm only like.
Fair enough.
I'm not even that much bigger than you. I mean, at the point, I think you hadn't hit 1,000 yet, and I was at 2K.
I had 400, dude.
Yeah, still, but like, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much.
Well, you got a valid point. I guess in the end,
so at the same time, basically, that's what happened. I said that to you, and you're like, "What?"
Right. Fair enough.
But I just want to let you know, I messaged my girlfriend. I'm like, "That was so sweet." I felt really good about it. I was like, you know what? He's really cool. I'm gonna message him, and we're gonna make a video happen. And that was one of my favorite collabs I've ever done. Period. And I was just at that point, I'm like, I gotta get you on for more shit. I gotta lock you down, bro. That was basically how it is. Like, I gotta lock this motherfucker in for like a contract or something. Like, this guy has to be like my. If you see TDN, you're like, As the Raven Dreams has got to be here somewhere. I wanted it to be that because of how good you are at what you do. I wanted to be like, As the Raven Dreams, TDN horror stories. Yeah, they do shit all the time. Like, I want it to be that. I want you to see my name or see your name, and either one of us is just brought up in that person's head. I want it to be coinciding. I want there to be like a dynamic duo type thing going on.
I think we're pretty much there. So.
I think we're at that point. Yeah, I think we're getting there. Like we're at that point. Like. Oh, As the Raven Dreams is on another video? Yeah. it's like, yeah, but for me, I like it.
But I was just saying that was a thing that, I've experienced too, which it felt weird, I'm not going to lie, so.
Yeah.
But now that you're saying that, I guess I was like that too.
Mm-hmm. So was I. I mean, think about it this way. It's actually happened very opposite. We had Voodoo Lou on last week. And I don't think I've ever fangirled as hard as I did because I had watched his stuff and I love his stuff so much that he has 1,500 subs, maybe more or less than me. And I have him on this pedestal that he's like 40 million subs in my head. So when he hops in, I'm just like, "Hi, how you doing?" It's real. I don't think anybody's ever had that happen, where someone like a lot smaller than them, and they were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I'm talking to this person."
But
yeah. So. Landscape-wise, the same question. What do you think is different for horror narration now than it was when you were getting started?
Let's see. Well, of course, there's the way that you approach collabs.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, there's a war between like microphones that people use.
Oh, and I'm on that train. Fuck you if you use a USB. If you use a USB, go fuck yourself. I'm sorry.
All right, see you later.
I just wanted to put that out there.
I also use a USB microphone because my Rode microphone has broken.
No, USBs are fine, but when someone then buys another USB that's more expensive and it's like, the quality's better. No, that's not how that works. After the Yeti, there is no higher tier, no matter how much more expensive you get.
I was gonna say I would like to challenge you on that because I went from a blue snowball to a blue Yeti, and the quality is significant.
No. I'm saying like Yeti is basically where you stop. Like even if there's like I don't know a Rode USB that's like $200 more, at that point there's not a difference in quality, not a noticeable difference.
Because I was gonna be like, yeah, bro.
No. There is. You can get like a $10 USB and then a $150 USB. It's gonna be different, but I'm just saying people are like, I got this Yeti and now I got this Rode that's infinitely better. I'm like, it's not. There's no noticeable difference because it's all sound card. So when you get to a certain tier like the Yeti, which is so perfect because it has its own internal sound card, you can't really get past that. There's really nothing else that you can do to it that'll make it better. Now, if you do want to upgrade, you can get better expandability to make better sound. After that Yeti, even with XLR, you really have to know what you're doing to make your sound better. Like, once you get over that threshold. So once you get condenser, get to a $350 mic, that's at that point you got to know how to properly tweak your audio interface to make you sound really good. You can't just plug it into the audio interface and be like, it sounds better than the Yeti. No, you have to know what you're doing. So there is a war, but I'm only on the side that of people who think there is any upgradable USB past the Yeti, which there is a lot of those people, and I don't agree with it. Anyway, you were saying? Sorry,
I got a little bit of emotion out of him on that one.
I'm sorry. I'm an audiophile,
right
bro.
But yes, along with the microphone civil war, there's the whole idea of trying to approach certain topics of stories, or even a certain topic in itself, and because somebody's done a topic first, or it's more popular, people assume that it is theirs and their property. Ooh. Which I wholeheartedly disagree with. I think that writing is writing, and if a narrator is given the opportunity to use it, then they can. It doesn't belong to anyone. It's, there's people going to be referencing, hey, this XYZ narrator did this, so I've already heard it, so you can't do it anymore. And that's one thing that I think is different with narration than from some other platforms or some other types of media that you can ingest, is that every time you have a different narrator, it's different. If it's the inflection, if it's their voice, the tone of their voice, if it's how they mix the audio or the sound effects or background music or whatever, it's always going to be different. Because if two people do the same story and say it has to do with vampires, it's not going to be the same story. There's always going to be some differences in it. They might put a cadence at something that completely changes the tone of a scene.
Right, yeah, no, I 100% agree. There is I can't remember what story. I think it was my dog disappeared for 3 days and what came back wasn't my dog or something like that. And there was a bunch of... I had first heard that story when Mr. Creepypasta did it years before. And about a year after I posted it, I got somebody who said, Mr. Creepypasta's narration is 35 minutes, but yours is 25. What are you cutting out? And I'm like, I'm not cutting out anything. He reads like a snail and I read faster. Like, that's just how it works. I narrate faster than the average narrator. So when you come to... I think that's the issue when I get put on somebody else's video, is that when they complain, it's because I do narrate faster than most. I don't really leave a lot of space for you to ingest because I want to just keep smacking you in the face with spooks. But it's worked for me. But yeah, they said that, and I'm like, I narrate faster than Mr. Creepypasta, and that's no fault to him or me. That's just how he does it and how I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, I'm ruining the story because I didn't narrate it. I didn't narrate it exactly like the person who didn't write the story. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. Ugh, I don't know.
Anyway.
So no, I totally agree with that. And it's but like, for example, I'll actually use an example on my own, which is from I recorded a story about 6 months ago, maybe a little bit longer, It was called "Why I Stopped Being a Hitman," and it was
I feel
the
like I've heard
entirety.
that one before.
I believe so. It was
Yeah.
from Mr. Creeps did it as well. But he did the first part of the story, and I did both parts of the story. So it was the complete story in itself.
Okay.
And a lot of people came to my video from Mr. Creeps' video because it was recommended because it has the same name and all that stuff.
Right.
And they came over, they would all say, "Oh, I already heard this whole thing."
Like,
And
okay, then go fuck off somewhere else. I don't care.
I was gonna say, my first thought was that, but you haven't. You only heard the first part of that, and that was
Yeah.
the thing, is that he took the first part without following up afterwards, because everything after that is just a different topic or a different video, and it's just I think it's interesting to see that if they if they have the same title, then they'll think it's the exact same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really weird. I wonder why he didn't do that, because there was a story that I did that he also did. This is nothing about people commenting. It was just the way he structured it. I had watched him, but I had found the story, and I really liked it. But I also wanted to see how other people did it, because it was a part series. But
Yeah.
I had been told that not everybody really likes them the way I used to do it. It was like just, parts, like actual parts, like a video per part or whatever it was. So I started looking up if anybody else did it, and they did. It was a very popular story. And I was wondering like how they structured it, if they did the parts, and how that fared well with the audience. And so I found Mr. Creeps doing it, and it was one of the first videos I had watched of him, and he basically put all of the parts in one video, just spaced it out so that it seemed like it was transitioning to something else. So I was like, okay, I'll try and do that. And I kind of like played on it and also tried to improve on it and stuff like that. So that's really weird that he would do a video like that, go the effort to make sure that everybody knew that all of them were different. Yet he didn't fully like cover the entirety of the story, which would be a detriment to the original. I would play on that, I guess.
Uh-huh.
So the first part ended in a way where you could have taken it as, okay, that is the end.
Right.
But it wasn't until after the video he had posted was when the second part came out. And so I'm thinking that's why, is that after that he says, okay, I've finished that story, I'm moving on to something else, and I guess he didn't check it afterwards, because I think he was just moving on to something.
That's really weird. Raven, you have anything like that where people came to your channel after you narrated probably something that was the same as somebody like larger or something, and they're like, yeah, fuck you, I've already heard this?
I actually don't.
You don't. I don't really
never
have I don't really have that exact thing either.
Unfortunately,
That's good. It's
right.
I've had the exact opposite, actually, where somebody came by. I had narrated a story somebody else did. I think it was Creeps McPasta, and they were like, wow, you actually narrated it better than Creeps McPasta. And I'm like, at the time I was like, wow. And now I'm just like, yeah, but that's not really a high ceiling to to break through.
Yeah.
Like that's not really a very impossible feat at that point. I don't know. I'm not trying to shit on Creeps McPasta. I like Creeps McPasta. I just think it was really funny that when I said that, I like to be a fucking asshole. I'm sorry.
All good.
So, you have went from doing mostly narrations to the occasional gaming stream on your channel, to singing in short clips, which I adore, to making full-on rap music. Like, that came out of nowhere. Like, at least for us, from the outside, that came out of fucking nowhere. Like, I remember hearing you sing, like, country music, and then all of a sudden you're a rapper, and I was fucking confused as shit. And I was, like, so confused. And I listened to it, I'm like, wow, he's actually really good, and you're constantly improving, and I'm really excited to see where you go from where you are. But what was the reasoning for rap specifically? Like, what got you started for that specific genre? Why music, creativity wise, whatever you want to fucking call it, and why rap?
Creativity.
So I think the main thing was I think the main thing was well, I posted my very first rap thing or whatever it was called Fuck Horror. You know,
I remember that one. That was
the
the first one that I listened to, and I was really into it.
And I think it was in my brain, it was easier for me to say all I wanted to say with a rap than it would be with singing it or trying to do a live stream about it, because I think that's not my thing. I can't just live stream and talk about it and be like, oh no, but this and that, and but I don't mean to offend anybody that's in the chat or anything. Like I don't want to
right
backpedal.
And rap is that platform where you're like, I can say whatever I want. Like
yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where I feel like I can actually speak my mind about it, and it'll it's not gonna piss as many people off because there's a beat behind it.
Right.
But I think in my mind it was easier, and I was just completely fucking frustrated with certain aspects of the community.
Yeah, no, I felt that in Fuck Horror, which like at that time I didn't know you felt the same way I did about what was going on. So when I listened to that, we kind of got in cahoots for something, for something to happen, which never actually came together. But maybe we'll revisit it at some other point. Right now, what we got going on is completely different. So that's actually a good segue. So at some point, and this is in the second stage or fucking third or fourth or fifth, I don't fucking know at this point, but we actually have a rap song, me and Viidith, coming out at some point. And I think for me, I've never been pushed further to try for like flow and lyrics. I've never been pushed as hard as I had to be for this. I don't think I've ever had to match or top someone's flow before. So this is probably the most fun I've ever had writing for a song, but also the most challenging, I think. So
nice.
Hell yeah.
On your end, because I know you had to rewrite your verse after you heard my original one, and it inadvertently caused me, after hearing your new one, your current one, forcing me to rewrite mine. So what was I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but like what was that process like that you had? Because at first you were like, I got this beat, would you want to do something? And then you sent me what you had, and then I sent you what I had, and you were like, this what I got ain't gonna work.
Because when you sent me that, I was like, oh my god, I'm just fucking stumbling around over here with my thumb up my ass, and I need to hit every fucking cadence and make sure I keep with that timing. Yeah. And I have to put in way more effort and maybe some more punchlines to make it fun, as opposed to what I did the first time, which was, about every measure was 4 sentences, and then go back and forth between a certain flow. It was kind of boring to me when I heard yours, and when I saw what you were doing with it, I was like, okay, I need to step it up, because and then this is a really fucking cool beat.
You guys don't even understand what I had gotten back later, after the fact, after he revised it. Wasn't fair. I'm gonna be honest. It's not fair, because I have said it to my coworkers. I had showed a couple of coworkers. I had showed my girlfriend your verse. I don't know how I'm gonna match it. I'm gonna be honest. I have no fucking idea how I'm gonna make this work at all, because I don't even know how you did it. So,
a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, that's for just to sum it up. Basically, there is a point where I don't even understand how he did it without stumbling or not breathing. Like, I just fast, constant flow with no breaks at one point, and I'm just so fucking confused. Yeah, so I'm very excited for it to come together. I just don't know how it's gonna come together.
It'll get there. I believe it'll get there.
Because you're pushing me to my fucking limits, man. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I'm excited, man. I want to see how it goes.
Yeah, my girlfriend was speechless. She was like, "That's Viidith?" I'm like, that's fucking Viidith. She's like, what are you going to do? I'm like, sit in the corner and cry and hope something comes out of it. I don't fucking know. Oh, man. I'm super excited for it, though. Super, super excited for it. So is there any... Because you've been kind of, like, slowing down with the narrations, it feels like.
Yeah.
Is there, like... Are you still going to continue to do it? What was the lack of, like, capacity? Well,
especially for, like, at the moment right now, I have a big video coming for Halloween that I'm trying to get fucking done. It's a mess, but
I should not have asked you to be online then, because I'm probably making it worse.
No, you're fine. I already had it recorded. It's already done.
Okay.
I just have to edit it. But I'm trying to make an album for November, which is my big project right now, which is why it is slowing down a little bit, and why I'm trying to, I guess, put out a little bit more music, sort of as like an idea of what's going on aside from narration. Mm-hmm. And so I just have two big things and I have a freaking audiobook that I have to start working on now.
Oh,
so
man.
That's another thing.
I'm going to let you know. Audiobooks, they're fun, but they also fucking suck. Especially for us, because we don't got the studio to go to every morning, like 9 to 5. All right, record this for this by time. All right, you guys are going to cut that, right? You guys, all right. I stumbled. Cut that. You don't get that. We have to do everything. So that's what fucking sucks about it. I'm listening to a book called The Magicians, and the fucking narrator is Mark Bramhall. I'm imagining Mark Bramhall sitting in his fucking, like, recording studio, like his nice cozy recording studio with his fucking cup of coffee, and he's just like, chapter 1. Fuck, I fucked that up. Okay, cut that. Like, that would just... That's such a good... Yeah, like, just... fuck it, I'm dead, I'll do it tomorrow. Like, no. They have people behind the scenes helping them. So... It sucks so bad because you have to do everything by yourself. I feel for you, bro. You're not going to like yourself after it.
It's daunting, but I'm excited about it, man. I mean, it's something totally new.
It's so much reading. It's so much reading, bro.
Yeah, I saw the script for it. I'm like, oh my fucking god, this is going to take like fucking a month.
Yeah. And mine was only 3 hours long, so...
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, no. All right. Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm going to have to work on that.
Yeah, bro. That shit. And the fucking problem with it was, like, I'll do it. I got it. And I kept pushing it back and pushing it back. There was a point where I narrated a bulk of the book in one day because I just kept pushing it off, and I had to get it to the deadline. So it was... Damn. Yeah, it was really... really bad. I'm not going to encourage him because I think you should try it, but at the same part, I know how fucking horrible I felt after. So,
yeah. God damn.
Yeah.
Good job, dude. Now you got him second guessing himself.
No, do it, because I feel like you'll be better at it. You'll probably be better at it than I was, but
it's already said and done. Now I have to at this point.
You got paid for it, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how it felt for me, because I got paid, and I'm like, fuck, now I can't go back.
Oh man, all right, it'll be fine. I have high expectations. I know it'll be a pain in the ass, but it'll be all right.
I mean, once you see the money come in, you're like, wow, that's Well,
thank God, I can pay for gas this week.
It's like, that's not that bad. I like it, and that's also the other difference is that. When you are like a bigger like audiobook narrator at that point or a voice actor, you have people basically to give them your wages. Like you're just like, hey, you're reaching out to like I was saying, like you're reaching out to Mark Bramhall to do this book. Just letting you know this is his pricing. This is how much he can do per week. This is the time constraints that he has. And there really is no negotiations for it. So his thing is like fucking $100, $300 per hour or whatever it is. This is what you get him for. And they're like, fine, whatever. And it all gets handled through your people. But with you, you're just like, I don't know, like, is 400
I'll do it
all right?
Saturday, it'll be fine.
It's like, is 400 okay? And they're like, no, 2. And they're like, all right. But you have
Yeah,
like
okay, I'll
bigger
do it.
people to help you with actually getting what you're worth. That's that. I want to continue to do it, but I want to eventually be on a larger scale. Like
Yeah.
I want that help because I want to be able to give what I have, but I also want to be able to be paid for what I know I'm worth. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I get
do
that.
I'll do it for $20 at this point. I'm just
I
I
won't.
feel that.
No, after that book, I'm doubling what I fucking asked for the first time. Like, nah, because that shit, I put my all into that fucking that audiobook, and it never came out.
okay. That
Damn.
sucks.
Yeah,
That
So,
sucks.
the issue is that the guy who wrote the book lives in somewhere in like a fucking third world country or something. It's a very small like German like country, and they don't let people. He can't do Audible because they don't have like social security numbers or any type of like real identification like that would be credited by Amazon or Audible.
Right.
So he couldn't actually sign up to be an author on Audible.
Oh shit.
And there is no other place that he could go to get his audiobook put out. And he didn't know that until I had already narrated it and he paid me.
Damn.
Yeah.
Dude, that's terrible.
So it never came out.
Damn.
And that's why I'm releasing pieces of it now. I'm probably going to release the full audiobook at some point on the channel if he lets me. I mean, at that point, I narrated the whole thing. It's not going to come out. It's might as well just put it out there. Like, I don't know.
Which is
Maybe I'll make it like a membership only thing, so you actually have to pay for it. So it's not like
that would be cool.
Or like a Patreon thing, and I'll just donate the proceeds to him, or I don't fucking know. But I do want to get it out there because I worked really hard on it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the book's already done, and it's getting published in like 2 days, and the audiobook is coming later on, and so it's already ready and it's already been set up, and the work just has to be put in at this point.
Yeah.
It's I haven't had a time constraint just yet. It's not too terrible. I'm still trying to get that figured out. So I mean, that's a plus. So I could just fucking kick it out of the park before there's a time constraint, so I don't kill myself trying to get it.
What I think you should do is do what I didn't do and make a schedule for it. Like, hey, I'll record like 2 or 3 hours of it today, and 2 or 3 hours of it the next day, or 4 hours this day, so that you're like making like a work day out of it. Because otherwise, you're just gonna feel like you're allowed to push it off until the last second. And yeah. That's where you're gonna get fucked.
Jesus.
Raven, it would be fine for you because you basically have spreadsheets and organized shit for everything that exists. So,
are you just gonna keep bringing that up every single episode?
That's fucking awesome.
Well, every time I bring it up, there's a person who doesn't know. So
I know. That's fair. I'll give you that.
I'm giving you props. I'm not saying it's obviously it's a little weird because I've never seen it before, but that's weird to me. But it's also awesome because I can't do that. No, sorry, not that I can't. I just fucking won't because that's way more work than I want to do.
Yeah, it's more work than I want to do, but I'm just so. That's how my brain works, man. That's just how it works.
I think it's great. You should see it, Vid. It's fucking insane.
I'm curious now. I'm that type. I need everything to be organized and in its place and all that.
Yeah, he has Excel spreadsheets.
Hell yeah!
of every video for the week.
I have for the week.
For whatever it is, you know what I mean.
If it's any, just to give you an idea because I just now checked the length of the book, my Halloween collab is going to be a third the size of this book.
Damn.
If that makes you feel.
How big is the book?
Almost 100 pages on this spreadsheet, but it'll take God knows how long because it's a novella right now.
Okay.
This is gonna be fun. Okay.
I wonder how many pages mine was.
Well, it depends on the font and everything too. So I don't know. I don't know. Oh, and spacing. I forgot about that.
Tales of a Security Guard.
That sounds like fun.
Oh wow. Mine was bigger than yours.
Oh shit.
223 pages.
Oh my god, I would die.
Yeah.
What a fucking mess.
Yeah, that shit killed me. But it was a great book. That's why I loved it so much. Like it's a bunch of like what it was is it's tales of a security guard. So the security guard gets a job offer like online. He's looking through jobs and it's like $80 an hour or something like that.
Oh, shit.
And
I wish I could.
And the interview is basically it is your first night. You have to try to survive this night, and he's like, survive, and he's already in it, so he can't get out. And basically, he has to do all these things, like if you go to this floor, make sure you walk this certain pace. You don't look at the guy who's going to peek out of the corner, and because if you do, he'll probably swallow you whole. There's going to be a girl that comes out of the elevator after you, and she's going to try to plead for you to help her, but you can't look at her. You can't acknowledge that she even exists. She will try to make you look at her, and you have to try not to.
Jesus.
And this shit happens through this whole thing, and he ends up getting the job, and the rest of the book is him and all of the jobs he's been put on as a security guard. So, like, there's this farm where his buddy is looking. It's not just him though. It's like a bunch of other security guards in that line of work telling their stories to him, and he's writing them down basically. So one of the stories was they were set on this farm. It's like SCP shit. Almost they're set on this farm, and there's security cameras set on it, and the guy's in the security room, and he sees a guy on the security camera like tilting his head, and his face is like. It's not that it's not there, but it looks like it's obscured by like the pixel stuff, and he's really confused by it, and his head just keeps getting more crooked and crooked and crooked, and the entire short story is like he's cowering in this locker, but all he can see is the face on the security camera, but he can't actually see the thing. So he has to watch the security cameras like through the cracks of the fucking locker that he's hiding in, and like it's that and just a bunch of other completely unique things told from a security guard's perspective, and it's awesome. It's so good.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. So obviously I was like, even though I was like, oh my god, it hurts. I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. Like, it was really cool. I loved it. I love how
awesome,
everyone
man.
but TDN chats in the chat. I can't. On Streamlabs, I try to sign in and it doesn't let me, so I literally can't fucking text inside the chat.
Haha.
Plus, I don't have to. I'm the host. I can just say stuff. I don't got.
And then I post in the chat.
Well, whatever.
Anyways.
So, Viidith.
Yes.
You're into games. You like games.
Yes.
So, in your opinion, what is your favorite horror game that you've ever played?
Oh shit. What do you define horror as?
I would assume it would be pretty obvious. Like, it depends on the horror, I guess. Like survival horror, psychological horror, like psychological horror being like Outlast, or survival horror would be something like Resident Evil.
So, oh shit, this is gonna sound fucking cheesy. One of my favorite games when I was a kid was House of the Dead, the original House of the Dead shooter video game.
Really? Like
Hell
the
yeah.
the clicky click.
Yeah, it was fucking beautiful.
Hell yeah.
It still sticks with me. Like, I'll play some other games and I'm like, these don't scare me, because I'm not 9 anymore, obviously, and it's not gonna scare me as much. But it was just something about it that I was like, I was drawn to it because I was like, this is freaking me out, and it's literally a screen.
Yeah.
But it was just I've never really.
No,
felt
it was
that.
the sounds, man. Those fucking speakers on those old games
Yeah.
were fucking intense.
Dude, I used to have House of the Dead 2 on the Dreamcast, and I
Oh,
played
wow.
that so damn much,
Dreamcast is
dude.
one of my favorite systems,
Oh,
bro.
yeah.
I fucking love that. I love that thing. I remember when I first got the Dreamcast, and I saw Rayman running on the screen in the controller. And I was
yes.
so fucking blown away, bro.
Or the Chow Garden from Sonic Adventures.
Yeah, you would be able,
Jesus.
whatever game you had, as long as it supported it. Not every game would have it, but a lot of games would program little characters, like little sprites for your. There was an else. I don't know if you ever had it, Viidith, but there was like a little screen inside your controller, like a little LCD screen, kind of like those really shitty fucking McDonald's like.
Yeah, it was on the memory card. It was on the memory card.
And some games would have sprites of the in-game characters just running or like doing something. And for Rayman 2: The Great Escape, it was Rayman running and climbing on the little screen. And it blew me away. I'm like, this is so fucking cool.
It had a smaller and lower quality screen than the original Game Boy, but it was freaking amazing.
It was just so cool that you can, like, while you were playing the game, you just look down and you're like, oh, it's Rayman. It was so fucking cool, man. That part of the system was why I loved the Dreamcast so much. But I barely even had that many games for it. Like, I probably had more moments with the N64, but like the N64 didn't have really many qualities that I was like, but there's not a guy in my controller. Like he's not there. Like, oh, man. If you would have told me when I was younger that I would be able to watch movies on my console, no way. Not even go on the internet on my console. No fucking way. There's no way. Play with other people who aren't in the house? No. No way. I wouldn't. No. Because I take it for granted now because it's just so easily accessible. But I'm trying to think as like my 5-year-old brain, like I would have never no. I couldn't even comprehend it because I remember first playing Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Oh shit!
And there was the network feature. It's like online multiplayer. I'm like, what? That exists? What does that even mean? I was so confused, and we never really got it to work because you would have to actually like get this disc for online multiplayer, and you would have to like burn it or something. I don't even fucking remember how to do it. I never figured it out, but it was so overly complicated that my parents just couldn't figure it out, so we just never got it to work, and I was so sad. But I remember seeing that. I'm like, online multiplayer. That's so cool. And I wouldn't actually be able to experience online multiplayer until Halo 3. Like, that was the first game I remember playing online with somebody, and I was so fucking confused. I'm like, these are real people? My dad's like, yeah, plug in the headset. And the guy was like, faggot. And I'm like, oh. I don't like it anymore.
Within minutes.
Within seconds, bro. Within seconds, I plugged in that shitty fucking white headset that came with my fucking Xbox. And I just got called that. And I was like, I understand why I didn't play this. So ever since that first moment, I always mute online chats in every game. Like, I never have my headset plugged in unless I'm just listening to, like, surround sound because I have those types of headphones for my console. But otherwise, I don't have the mic on or the incoming audio on because I hate online gamers. I hate them so much. Because they're always just, how dare you not... just, you didn't see me? You didn't see me, huh? You didn't see me triple no-scope you, huh? Like, oh, thank you.
How the fuck you don't see him, you fucking idiot?
Yeah.
Fuck off my team! Fucking quit, uninstall!
It's like, shoot him! Get me up! I have the ray gun! Why aren't you picking me up? Why? Oh my god. There was people who actually played Call of Duty Zombies online. Unironically. And I never understood that. Because that's like the worst way to play that fucking game mode. I never... Because you can't coordinate with people online. It's just not... It doesn't fucking work. Especially not in Zombies. Like, hey, pick me up. No. Like, what do you mean no? What do you mean no? That's the whole point. And that's the fucked up part. It's like, well, I don't know you. Like, then why are you playing? Why are you playing if you don't want to help me? Jeez, man. I would pick that person up if I was them. Like, but no. So we got you for your favorite horror game, which was. I get it.
Fucking OG.
Yeah. What do you have any favorite horror movies? Are you really into that sort of thing? Because I'm really not.
I mean, so one that actually really freaked me out that was more of a psychological thriller than a horror was Nightcrawler. Like, that's one that stuck with me for a long time.
I wouldn't even consider that horror, but that fucked with you?
Yeah. Yes, it did. It was just one of those things where, like, it was so well captured, and the just the idea of...
You're talking about the Journalist movie, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And just the idea that people... Well, first of all, people flip shit around to make it look so they can get that right angle.
Right.
For the news or for a shot or whatever, but it's also like, everything's on camera. It's just, I don't know, it just freaked me out for some reason.
That's not what I was expecting at all.
Really?
No, Nightcrawler? No.
What were you expecting?
Something more horror-based, I think.
I mean,
because it's not a bad movie. It's not a bad movie. But I don't...
If I couldn't say Nightcrawler, I would probably say Alien. Alien was a good one.
Man. So everybody's probably gonna hate me for this, but I think I said this last week or the week before. I had only watched Alien, the original, for the first time about 2 weeks ago.
Hell yeah.
And it wasn't that I didn't want to see it. It never came up. Like I was never actively like trying to watch it. And I had watched. So this is how it came up. So I had basically the movies Prometheus and Alien Covenant are the prequels to that movie. And
yeah.
I had seen like images of Prometheus and like the godlike figures in it, and I thought it looked really cool. And I went on Google and I asked if like I had to watch any of the Alien movies to get Prometheus, like if that would be a thing. And they're like, no, you can watch it. It's basically its own standalone thing. You don't have to watch it. It's so far from Alien right now that you don't have to. And I'm like, okay. And the same thing with Alien Covenant. It's like you kind of do, but at the same time, it's only like you have to if you want to understand a couple of things from the original Alien, like and put two and two together, you would have to watch the original, but you don't. And I was like, okay, so I'll watch Alien Covenant, and I liked them. And then I was like, all right, well, there's nowhere else to go but up. So I just watched the original Alien, and I was so... That movie stands the test of time. It's a fucking masterpiece. It's so fucking good. And it's still so fucking terrifying. Oh my god. And it's even more terrifying with the 70s fucking, like...
Oh god,
like
yeah.
the 70s like prosthetics and lack of CGI.
Great.
It's
all
just
practical.
Yeah, it's all practical effects. So it really gets you. It really, really gets you. Somebody, this is only on topic with the era, I guess, but my friend at work was like, you know what movie I really want them to remake? Back to the Future. And I'm like, are you fucking stupid? Don't touch Back to the Future. Don't touch Back to the Future. There's no reason. It's great. Just don't touch it. I don't understand why you have to. I don't know why that's such a fucking trope, but don't fucking touch Back to the Future. Don't do it. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants you to do that. Don't do that. If they want you to do that, they don't appreciate Back to the Future for the art masterpiece it is. Don't fucking touch Back to the Future. Don't do it. I just had to get that out there. Never do that. There's just classics that you don't remake. Just don't do it. Don't. And if you do, don't. It's just that simple. If you do it, just don't do it. Yeah. That's my statement for this week. Don't remake Back to the Future, please.
Should I ruin your life and tell you?
What?
News that millionaires BTTF fans have been hoping for has been confirmed. Universal Pictures announced a Back to the Future remake for the iconic film franchise for summer of 2021.
I'm going to shoot myself in the face. I'm not even going to watch it. I'm not even going to watch it, bro. I'm not even going to fucking watch it.
I was just curious. I'm like, are there plans to do that, or is that just something that's not going to happen? And
no, he was telling me that there was like, I think I saw something that said they were going to remake Back to the Future and that he wants it to happen. I'm like, don't do that. Don't fucking do it.
It looks like it may be happening next year.
No, why? What's the fucking point. There's nothing you have to remake. It still looks great. It's still a great fucking series. I don't understand why you have to remake Back to the Future. That's like remaking The Goonies. Why would you do that?
Oh god, apparently they might be casting Dwayne Johnson as Doc.
What?
Why do they have to cast him in every remake?
And
He
Tom
wasn't in
Holland,
Mulan.
Tom Holland is fucking Marty McFly. I'm not watching it.
maybe.
Not watching it. I love
It
Tom
looks like-
Holland. I fucking love Tom Holland. Fuck him. I hate him if he does that. I will hate him if he does that.
As apparently talks have been confirmed. This is back in February. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ruin your life. I was just curious.
I'm going to fucking boycott Back to the Future.
God.
Fuck that. Don't do it. It makes no. There's sometimes like with the new Jumanji movies, I actually like them. I don't think they're bad because they're not remaking them. They're continuing.
Right.
It's
Well,
set in the same jungle, just now in like an Atari 2600 or whatever it is.
Right. Well, but the emotion of the movies are totally different too.
Yeah, it's different.
more-
Like they also
they're more
paid
comedy
homage
than they
because
are-
apparently
Yeah.
Alan Parrish, like one of the characters, lives at his little hut that he made for himself years later. Like one of the characters actually does that. That's really cool. It says Alan Parrish was here, so it's not a remake. It's just a reboot, which is fine. If you were to do a Back to the Future anything, don't remake it. If you absolutely fucking have to, why not just do... Doc Brown had kids. Fucking Marty McFly had kids. Make it about them or something. Don't fucking...
Like make it like a sequel.
make it a sequel. Do what Bill and Ted did. That would be great, because Bill and Ted 3 was awesome. But don't fucking remake it. Don't put Dwayne Johnson as Doc Brown like I'm going to believe he's some mad scientist. I can believe Doc Brown can fucking put a Mr. Fusion and make the fucking thing run and fly off of that. I could totally believe that because of how he looks.
Christopher Lloyd fit the part. That's
He
the thing.
really did. He looked like a fucking crackhead. Like, it made sense. But Dwayne Johnson? No.
I'm just telling you what I read. Okay, I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot me. Yeah.
And they would completely change it too, because now it'd be like, oh, we're in 2021, and now we're going to 2035 or something like that. No, the whole point was that we couldn't even conceive what the future would look like. Like, Back to the Future 2 is one of my favorites because I loved what they thought our future was going to look like. Like, they thought Pepsis were going to come out of the fucking counter, and they thought there was going to be a Jaws 15 or whatever, and the fucking hologram was going to be everywhere, and there was going to be hoverboards. I love that idea. But if you're in 2021 and you're like, oh, what's 2035 going to bring? I don't know. We're probably going to be dead because of the way we're fucking treating the planet. But but it's easier for us to see what 2035 would bring at the stage we are at now because of how far we are into technology. I don't think it would be that interesting. I think 1985, wow, I wonder what they're going to do in 2015 with all this technology. Let's make some ideas. With 2020, I don't give a fuck what's going on in 2035. I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out why the fuck we suck right now. Like I don't give a shit about that fucking year. Like 2015. That's the thing. It was a whole nother fucking century.
Right.
That they were pushing into. That they were seeing into. And now, like what? Oh, yeah, 2030. It's gonna be the same thing. We're all gonna have iPhone 56s or something.
Are they gonna go to like 2115 or something? I don't know.
I just don't remake Back to the Future. Just don't do it. Just don't fucking do it.
I agree with that.
It's just one movie the one movie trilogy that you should just never touch. If you're gonna reboot it and make a sequel or try like what Bill and Ted 3 did, fine. I'm on board for that because I was honestly skeptical about Bill and Ted 3 and I was blown away by the sequel. But don't remake it.
So I have a bit of an off the wall question for you, Viidith.
Yes.
And this is one I've only asked a couple times, but it's a good question that kind of always gets people thinking. And that is, if you could do any other thing other than horror narrations on your channel and find success in that topic, what would you do?
Probably something to do with music, honestly.
Okay. I had a feeling.
Not necessarily rap, but just music in general.
Sure.
Because I have way more fun with it.
Sure. I was just curious. It's a question I like to ask people because
yeah.
I don't who else did I asked someone else that was pretty big.
Probably Swamp.
No, it wasn't Swamp. It was Jensen. He said because it was animations.
Oh yeah, right.
It's just interesting to see what other people would do if they weren't doing narrations and they knew it would be successful, kind of thing. So I get that. Music's, I would probably, if I could actually play music, I'd probably be doing the same thing. So. Okay, didn't mean to.
No, you're fine.
Didn't mean to ask an obvious question. No, I'm kidding.
Damn.
I'm kidding.
I see.
Jeez, man.
Bruh.
God. Fuck. So, feels like that's a good point as any to end the episode here. Me ranting why you shouldn't ever make Back to the Future as a remake ever again. Remaster it. That's fine. Remaster it in 4K. I'd love that. I think they already did, but I'm saying do it again, just to fine tune the edges or whatever. Because I just actually bought the digital versions of the 4K versions of Back to the Future, and I watched the first one the other night. Holy shit. They really worked hard on that, because it works in 4K. It looks really good, and I'm so happy about it. But other than that, don't fucking touch Back to the Future, because I'll murder you. So thank you guys so much for listening in. This has been a really fun podcast. I've been waiting to get Viidith on a podcast for 2 years at this point.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute. If you guys want to see more of Viidith, his links are down in the description below. Please go check out his music. He's getting better and better every single time. He also does narrations. They're also really fucking good. Look out for him and Raven on our Halloween collab next week. That's going to be fucking cool. I'm excited for that.
Hell yeah.
Next week, we have basically my first original friend that got me into this community, Horror by Numbers, who is also, surprisingly, on the Halloween collab next week, and I'm really, really, really excited about that. So he's coming on 5 p.m. EST, so that's the time he set, and that's the time we're doing it. And I'm really, really excited to get to talk to him, because it's been forever since I actually got to sit down and talk to him. So I'm, like I said, super excited about that. If you guys love me, subscribe. The way I said that was really stupid, but I'm okay with it.
A little bit.
I'm sorry. That was really dumb. I don't know why I said it like that. I was trying to say, like, if you like this, subscribe, or if you like it, like the video, but I don't know. It was like, if you guys love me, just, like, say hi. But if you guys like this, please be sure to leave a like. Comment down below what guests you guys want to see next on the podcast, because we love to take suggestions. Tell people, spread it around on Twitter. Tell people that we want them on the podcast. Get some people on here. It'd be really fucking cool. And follow me on Twitter for every single time that I'm going to post. Hopefully what happened today will not happen again with the fucking horrible, horrible start to this fucking thing where we lost 10 minutes. Follow Raven on Twitter as well for all of the updates for his videos. All of his links are down in the description as well. I am TDN Horror Stories. That is As the Raven Dreams. And Viidith22, say something if you want before we go.
I love you. Thank you for thank you for having us on. Thanks for everybody being here. It was really fun.
Thank you for coming, man. Always greatly appreciated. And
it's a fun time.
We'll have you again in the future. And it will start on time that day. So
yeah.
Well, we started on time. That was the fucked up part, and then this all got fucked up. I was in here 25 minutes. No, sorry, I was in the fucking Discord since 3 p.m. So like, I was ready to go, and everything got fucked up. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week at 5 p.m. EST for Horror by Numbers. This has been TDN Horror Stories and the TheDarkNest Podcast. And we'll see you guys next time for another one.
Sleep well.